So you see how difficult it is to try and put everything into a course in sedimentology, because we have tectonics, we have climate, we have one thing I didn't talk about, and this thing is sea level. So tectonics creating mountains and basins. Climate glaciers, or deserts, or more or less water. Sea level is providing us with a thing called the base level. Because you imagine this, I mean, where does a river go to? A river goes to the sea. So the river cannot erode. I mean, if this is the sea, the erosion action of a river cannot go below the surface of the sea. And the sediments, the levels of deposition of the sediments here in a river plain on the continent, we are still talking about continental environments. I'm not talking about coastal but the highest level of deposition also has to coincide with the level of the sea, unless we are in a depression. But forget about being in the Dead Sea. So the sea constrains the action of the river, so how much they can erode or up to where they can deposit. That would be fun if the sea level remained always the same. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Apart from the small tidal motion, there are cycles in climate, or there had been cycles in climate, at least for the past 2.7 million years, which cause the up and down of the sea level globally. And the ups and down, the global ups and down of sea level I'll call eustatic. Then even the land, because of plate tectonics, can go up or down. So if it goes up only in one part of the world, for example, if it goes up as it is doing in New Zealand, then what happens is that the sea level appears to change, but it's not because it changes globally, but it's because it's the land that's going up. So these are not eustatic, but those are relative sea level changes. Well, the eustatic are quite interesting, because if we take Australia again, so Australia is not done much up and down in the last 2.7 millions of years. The sea has done that. Just imagine you take this down of 180 meters. Who? The Hunter, which is now flowing on in the Hunter Valley on its plain, would have had to cut down dramatically to accommodate the new base level. So the Hunter has probably eroded a lot. I don't know how deep it went, but it did. And then when the sea level rose, and this happened, the sea level was down 180 meters about 22,000 years ago. So in 22,000 years, then the Hunter had deposited all the sediments necessary again to sort of keep pace with the rising sea level. Now, about 120,000 years ago, the sea level was actually a little bit higher than today. So it went a little bit into the Hunter Valley. I think it's called until Lark, at least we know it. And you can find shells. So the Hunter had to retreat. The stories of up and downs in the last 2.7 million years occurred several times. We know very well that we have at least 8 glacial cycles for the past 800,000 years. So imagine the rivers globally have to do this for 8, 9, 10, 12 times or more. And this creates complexity in reading the geological record. Now, but you can see it. Not in the Hunter Valley, because unfortunately, the fact that now the Hunter Valley is at sea level, more or less, you have to go in some part of the world where this chunk has been uplifted by plate tectonics. And obviously, the best place where to go remains New Zealand, because New Zealand has been uplifting. And in New Zealand is one of the most beautiful places where you can see fascias of braided rivers with large conglomerates. And then you see alluvial plains, and then you can even see marine fascias. And then again, the rivers started cutting through these sediments because the sea level went down. And the story repeats again. So you have channels filled by conglomerates or large conglomerates, and then you might have sand, and you have volcanic ash, because there are volcanoes in New Zealand, and then maybe you have silt. And then again, and it repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats, until the land was completely uplifted, came out of the sea, and so now it's in erosion. And it's got soil, all this sequence, it's got soil on top.